All right, well, I think I'll get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joyce Samowski. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for HFMA, and I also have executive leadership responsibilities for the MAP app product. So, and I'd like to welcome you today to our first annual virtual user group conference. Not our first user group conference, but our first virtual user group conference. Like many others across the world, we at HFMA have had to pivot recently in order to do this as well as several other events instead of being face-to-face virtually. And although we're sorry that we're not able to see all of you in person, in many cases we're at least able to see your faces here on Zoom, and you're able to see us, but we miss you. This event really didn't happen overnight. It took an awful lot of teamwork in order to pull this together and really make it real. So special thanks to Andrea and Kayla for all their hard work, as well as the folks from the chapter services team, the business development sales team, and also our policy folks in Washington. So thank you all, team, for a great effort, and I hope that all of you on this call will be able to stay with us for the afternoon. We have a couple of our very timely breakout sessions that I hope you'll get a lot of value from. We're hoping, again, as I said earlier, we've had to pivot and pull this together, perhaps with not as much planning as we would have liked. Just based on the circumstances, but we're hoping that indeed if this venue and the medium that we're sharing with you works for all of you, we're hoping that perhaps this can be an opportunity for us to have these user group meetings perhaps more frequently in the future. So as we go through the meeting and certainly after the fact, we welcome your candid comments about how this the virtual event worked for you, both from a scheduling perspective and an informational perspective. One of the first things we're going to share with you today, Andrea is going to kick it off, and she's going to talk about some of the very exciting things that we're doing with MAP app. As many of you know, the revenue cycle is a huge piece of the HFMA strategy. And not to mention a big piece of our revenue. About 42% of our revenue comes from revenue cycle, and over 30% of our members are in that revenue cycle world. So the MAP suite, which consists of our benchmarking tool, the MAP awards, as well as the MAP keys, are an integral part of the value that we bring to the industry and also to you as members. So it's been critical for us as we have thought about MAP app and really the next iteration of MAP app. So believe it or not, MAP app is celebrating this year. They're celebrating their 10th birthday. And although we've made some upgrades and a variety of different changes and improvements over the years, one of the things we haven't done is really to dig deep down and look at the architecture of the product. And in actuality, that architecture is about 10 years old, and it limits our ability to be flexible and also to make the kinds of changes that we want to be able to make in the future. So the HFMA board has given us their commitment to allocate funds to do a total redesign of MAP app, and we started that over the summer. So what Andrea is going to share with you is kind of what our initial thoughts are, show you some exciting things that we have in mind, and we'll be looking for your feedback not only today, but also after this meeting, and we'll be seeking out some of you also to get some more one-on-one feedback related to it. So let me just stop there. Again, thank you for joining us today. And I'll turn it over to Andrea to walk you through some of the wireframes we have to share.
Thank you, Joyce. Can you hear me okay? I think so? Okay, great. So as Joyce had said, I'm Andrea Strudeman. I'm the operations manager for MapApp. For many of you, this is probably, you've met me before from former or prior user group meetings. I wish I could be with you today. Again, this is, as Joyce said, it's the 10th year, and I wish we could be in person. But certainly, as I look to serve you as leader of this tool with Joyce, we want to make sure that we are staying in touch and making sure that we are getting your input on our development, and staying in touch with your concerns and your needs. We do have an exciting prototype to share with you today. I'm going to go through that for roughly the next 50 minutes or so. Then we're going to take a break, and we'll go into, you'll each go into one of two discussion rooms. We have the discussion room on telehealth being led by Lucy Zielinski and our HFMA policy director, Katie Gilfillan. And then our other discussion room is being led by Leah Klinke from West Virginia University Medicine. And she's going to talk about how WVU Medicine uses MapApp. So we hope that you get a lot of value from that session. It's about half an hour. And I do encourage you to participate in those and connect with your peers. We're going to then take another break, and we're going to wrap up the session from 3:30 to 4 Central. And what I'll do is Chuck Alsdorf, who's our policy director, who will be helping out Leah Klinke, he's going to summarize Leah's session, and Katie Gilfillan will summarize Lucy's session, so that even though you can only attend one, that you'll be able to get the benefit of both. And we are also recording these sessions as well today for you, so that you can come back and listen to them a little bit later, the other session that you weren't able to sit in on. So without any further ado, I'd like to share with you MapApp's complete re-architecture. So we're going to make this interactive because all of you play a very important role in this product. Not only are you users, but you're influencers from a development standpoint. This tool is meant to serve you. We want to know how it can be most instrumental in helping you in your jobs, and what you want to get out of it. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to use a tool called Mentimeter.com. In case you've never used it before, it's really simple. If you can use your phone or tablet, and you type in menti.com, MENTI.com, and enter the code 9880771. And I'm going to show a question on the screen, and we'll get your input that way. So there's so many of you on the webinar today. I wanted to make sure that you all had a chance to weigh in on the tool. So let's give it a try. And this is, forgive me, this is my first time using it too. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this goes well. Okay. Actually, let's do, yeah, let me jump over to Mentimeter. Okay. So the first question, I like this. Okay, this is great. The first question is, what adjective would you use to describe how you're feeling today? This is obviously just a test question before we actually get into the architecture. Something a little bit fun. So you see tired, happy, interested, overwhelmed, understandable. I was feeling very overwhelmed myself today because I thought to myself, you know what, for the last 9 years, all I've ever had to worry about was, you know, where's my room? Does the projector work? Is lunch going to show up? And this is totally different for me doing this virtually. As I said, I wish I could see all of your faces in front of me. But this is great. Excited, sleepy, awesome, good. Excellent. Elated. I like that. Magical. Oh, my daughter would like that. This is good. All right, let's try one more. And this is really more for me because I wanted to practice just going to a new question. So if you'll allow me. Let's see, how do I move here?
There's if you hover over your slide, Andrea, there should be like a arrow, or you could use your arrow keys.
Yeah, the arrow's not working.
Okay, just use your arrow keys on your.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate that. All right, I'd love to know, let's talk about what patient accounting system does your organization use? Ah, good. I know I sent out a survey as I was working on putting this event together. And many of you said that you wanted to be able to connect with peers that had your same patient accounting system. Because obviously we didn't know who was going to be in this session. That was really hard to do in advance. But this is great. What we can do is take this information and connect you with the peers that are in this session today. So although we won't be talking about EPIC specific or Cerner or Meditech specific questions, we'll make sure to get you connected with your peers in this session today. All right, good. Well, I hope that was fun. Now I'm going to jump back to, and again, thank you, Tracy, for helping me with that. Okay. So I'm going to jump to, first of all, before I show you the prototype, I wanted to review with you the main changes to our architecture. Okay. So first and foremost, as you are probably aware, we have two separate sets of map keys today. We have the hospital and health system side, and you can see these on our website, on the hfma.org website. We have the hospital map keys, and then we have the physician practice map keys. And in the physician practice map keys are a small subset of the hospital keys. And there are some other keys that are unique to physician. We've made the decision to streamline those, I think it's 30, not 35 keys, into one set of keys for your entire organization to really simplify how you look at your business. And given the fact that we're consolidating into one set of keys, we thought, what better way to also consolidate or combine our hospital and physician databases into one database to provide you with your total health system performance. For those of you that participate in either of these two modules, you'll know that, sure, on the screen, it looks like you're in one instance, but they're clearly very different databases. And so when you're looking at your point of service cash collections for your hospitals and your point of service cash collections for your physician practices, you can't connect those to be one total system performance. And so that's what we're doing. We are completely consolidating and combining those databases into one. And we're going to migrate all that data for you, so have no fear. But by doing that, by providing you with a health system performance, it allows you the ability to, as I said, look at your keys in a rolled up manner. So total point of service cash for your entire health system. And what we're still exploring with the developer is whether we can actually just submit, while we would love to get the detailed data of, for example, POS at the hospitals and POS at the physician practices, while we would love to get that detailed level data, we're also exploring, can we possibly report data at that system performance level where some organizations can't split out their data. So there's a lot that we're having to talk through on our side about how this is done and some of the considerations, but I am so excited about this because for the longest time, I have always felt that you as users shouldn't just get a snapshot of your organization or a view of a piece of your organization. You're obviously much more complex organizations than just hospital and physician. And so we want to be able to open that up for you. And that leads me to the third bullet, which is we are going to expand the provider types that our database can accept. So we're opening it up beyond acute care hospitals to IP psych, IP rehab, long-term acute care. We're opening up the what we had termed our physician module, we're now going to call the ambulatory and post-acute module. And we're going to open that up to many provider types, not just physician practices. So I'm very excited at the opportunity that this presents. It's opening up the provider types. It's allowing you to really look at your entire health system's performance and really get a good feel for how you're doing as an organization. Now, I've talked to many of you, and many of you have said to me, Andrea, please don't take away the ability to look at hospital separate from ambulatory. And we're not doing that at all. You will still be able to see if you just want to roll up your hospitals or you just want to roll up your practice, your hospital billing and your physician billing, you can still do that separately. We are just adding that next level so that you can look at it from a health system level if you'd like to. And then we've also are exploring ways to make data submission easier. We're looking at, we've looked at in the past of using FHIR and HL7 data to hopefully streamline this. What we've learned is that FHIR and HL7 are not as, the data in FHIR and HL7 are not as robust as we need them to be to collect all the data that we need for the map keys. We believe that in the coming months that will change as more patient accounting systems populate more of their information in that instance. Maybe more information will become available, but we're not stopping there. We're going to continue to find ways to make data submission easier. Okay, let me pause there. And I'm just going to stop to see if anybody, before I get into the prototype, because that was a lot. The architecture was a lot to cover. Let me go back out and see if anybody, raised their hand up to see if anybody has any questions about what I said about the health system, expanding provider types, consolidating map keys, etc. So let me just see. Jake. Tracy, can you unmute Jake Hess, please?
Hey, Andrea, can you hear me?
I can. How are you, Jake?
Perfect. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Thanks for having us today. My question is, so I'm sure the burning question on a lot of people's minds, when do you think that this will be available and into production?
So thank you so much for asking that question. We are looking at launching this spring of 2021, so it's right around the corner.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I see some more. I think I see some more hands being raised. Oops.
And Andrea, a question did come in the chat.
Okay, please, yeah.
It says, can you provide some examples again of additional provider types that will be included in the physician practice module?
Yes, actually, let me just, I'm going to show that in the prototype. So if you'll just give me a few minutes, I will show you that whole list that you'll see in the what we call the organization builder. So who did that come from, Erica?
Denise West.
Awesome. Denise, thanks for asking that question. I'll show it to you just momentarily. Any other questions before we move on about questions about the architecture?
Yep, Rick has a question. Hang on. Maybe not. You can go ahead.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so many screens to have to work with here. Thank you for bearing with me, everybody. Okay, let me jump over to the prototype. So although the prototype, there are just a few screens, there's a lot to discuss on them. So here we go. Okay. All right. Move my, there we go. So this is the new dashboard that we have envisioned for MapApp. Now, depending on how familiar you are, or I know some of you on the call today are still in onboarding. You're not even probably even sure about what you're not as familiar with what the dashboard looks like today. Basically today it's just we have the 25 map keys on the dashboard, but there's a lot of it looks like, just if you look down here at the bottom, one of these tiles or cards would be a good example. You would see 25 of these tiles or cards for each map key in the tool today. What we have heard from subscribers is that people would like more guidance around kind of where their strengths and opportunities are, where they should be focused on when they log into this tool. So we wanted to build a dashboard that really suited all levels of management, from CFO to director to manager to analyst, supervisor. Everybody has is served by this dashboard in a couple different ways. So first and foremost, let me talk about some of the things that are staying the same and that you'll recognize. The left-hand side navigation panel is staying the same. So dashboard, map keys, reporting, learn and share, data submission. If you're an administrator, that will be there. We still leverage the concept of viewpoints. So a viewpoint is a way for you to drive data shown on the screen, to look at your organization in terms of a certain view, right? You're a single hospital or the entire system compared to a certain peer for a period of time or a point in time. All those things are staying the same. But some of the things that we have done, which I think are pretty interesting, are we're giving you insights around your top 5 strengths and your top 5 opportunities. And so for all the map keys that you report, and this will be based on the monthly reporting, as soon as you upload that, as soon as your administrator uploads your file for the month, MapApp will calculate what your top 5 keys are, and this is going to be represented by your percentile ranking against your peer group. So obviously, if you're performing very well, you're probably going to be in the top 25 or 15 or 10% of your peer group, and that's why the percentile ranking is, in this case, for this example, all this peer or this organization is in the top 10 percentile. So what that says is, if we look at net days in AR, it says that 93 point, everybody below 93.7 for the peers, they are performing worse than this organization. So this organization is really in top 7% of the peer group. In contrast to that, the top 5 opportunities are the based on the keys that you report for that month, the lowest performing keys compared to peers for the month. So what I don't want you to, it's important to understand that this is still percentile ranking. You know, a lot of these map keys have a percent, you know, a percent metric. So while you may think, oh, my AR contracted payers 31 to 60, I should have, you know, 30%, 20% in that metric. This is not saying that. What it's saying is that we're not really telling you what the contracted payers 31 to 60 is. We're just saying that you're in the bottom, you know, in this case, this organization is the bottom 10%. And I don't know if it'll necessarily be top 10 or bottom 10. This is just still, you know, just meant to be illustrative. But I'm hoping that this will help to guide all levels of management in terms of what they should be celebrating, as well as what they should be focusing on to go look into and maybe dig a little deeper into that month's performance. So let me pause there because I have a question about the strengths and opportunities. And so if you could pick up your phone again, based on your percentile ranking, are the strengths and do you find the strengths and opportunities insightful? Yes, no, or I'm not sure. Ah, excellent. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's all right. If you're not sure, that's okay. This is what we want to know. Okay. Good. That's great. Would anybody be comfortable raising their hand? Anybody who said, I'm not sure, would any of you be comfortable raising your hand in Zoom webinar to help me understand, is there something I could do to make this more insightful or more maybe intuitive? I'm not sure if it's just not, if the percentile ranking is difficult. Would anybody be willing to share that?
We have a question in the Q&A too, Andrea,
Sure.
until somebody raises their hand. These percentile rankings, strengths and opportunities are based on a single month or on a longer period of time?
Great question. On the single month. So every month, those percentiles will change. And it's, as I said, it's based on when your administrator uploads the data every month. MapApp's going to tell you, here are your top strengths, here are your top opportunities for that month. Now, let me go back to the prototype. I did want to call out this drop down that says August of 20 here, because what we're looking at doing is allowing you to roll that up over an aggregated period of time. So if you wanted to look at your strengths and opportunities over, say, a quarter's worth of time, and that would be based on your fiscal quarter, or year to date, if you'd like to know what your top strengths and opportunities are for year to date, or an annual view. So that way you could, it's not, although the default view would be by month, you would have the opportunity to look at this over longer periods of time, if that helps. Any other questions before I move on to the revenue cycle score? Okay. All right, great. We have also built in a revenue cycle score calculator. Now, I'm not sure if all of you have seen this on HFMA's website. I can actually go there right now. Under the MAP initiative, if you're all familiar with HFMA's MAP awards, we have a revenue cycle calculator on the MAP award page, where if you're interested in applying for an award, you can benchmark your performance against past award winners. And this, the calculator looks like this. What you would do is, and you can visit this calculator later on so you can get more familiar with it. But the concept, what we're looking to do is to build this concept into MapApp so that you can get a better idea of how you are performing against past MAP award winners. And so what we would do is take your monthly metric results, and again, that could be rolled up. You would have the opportunity to roll up that data to quarterly, year-to-date, annual, so that your calculator would recalculate based on the aggregation of those numerators and denominators. But what we would do is in MapApp, we would take these 5 keys, and this would actually, I would have to make sure that in onboarding, everybody reported these keys in order for the revenue cycle calculator to work. But I'm just going to fill in some numbers as an example. And I'll say my net days AR is 35. My DNS discharge not submitted to payer days is 6. My billed AR is 25%, over 90. My cash is 25, and my cash collection is 99%. What this calculator does for you is it calculates a total score out of 100 points. And it gives you a points for each key, and then it weights them to get to get you a total revenue cycle score of 100. So here you see the breakout. So net days AR is 24, DNSP is 12, etc. So this is the concept, and I wanted to show you this because it's not, unless you understand, unless you've used this calculator before, just showing you in the clickable prototype wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't have the context behind it. But what we would do is, as your administrator submits your data every month, and here you see this, August 2020 drop down, and we could change that to allow you to change your time period or roll up your time period. What we would do is we would say for that month, we would score you using that calculator kind of methodology. And what you would see is your score for the month. So, and we would give you what your 5 metric results were for the month. So net days AR, this organization got 36 days. And from the prior month, they went down by, you could see that they went down by 2 days. That resulted in a dollar improvement of 1.29 million. Okay, and we're giving you giving this organization 23.6 points out of a total of 29.5, and all the gray points add up to 100 points. So that's how you get the 63 points, is seeing the breakout of what each of the keys receive in that calculator. But you can see that, what your result was, and what was, did you improve from the prior month or not? Maybe like in the case of POS cash collections, last month, this organization had, 23% POS cash, and I went down by 5.6, down to 18%. A lot of subscribers say to me, Andrea, how do I quantify the ROI of this tool? Well, here it is for you. This is how, obviously these may not be additive, but assuming that you can recognize your opportunities, identify potential causes of issues, you can then put new processes in place, see how that process change makes an impact in your metrics, and what that means to your organization. And as I said, these are not additive, but it's meant to help quantify for you the value of your improvements. And you see here the 63 points, I get a yellow score here, and it's made up by green in net days in AR and cash, yellow in DNSP and billed AR, and then red in POS. And you can see that not all map keys in this calculator are created equal, right? I mean, even though I went down in POS cash is only worth a total of 12.5 points versus net days in AR is a total of 29.5 points. And so I know a lot of organizations say, well, you know, we really want to work towards a MAP award. Hopefully this gives you more insight to just what you need to focus on in your organization towards that goal of earning a MAP award. And we're also exploring the feasibility of allowing you to apply to MAP awards. I'm not sure if this is going to be just a link to the MAP award database or whether we can actually integrate MAP app and MAP awards. That's something we're still investigating on our end. But I know I have heard many of you say, Andrea, we'd really like to be able to, you know, press a button and have all of our data go in. Certainly there are nuances with the awards because there are many different awards you can apply for. So we would have to make sure if we were going to integrate those to make sure that, you know, all the data lined up correctly. So I'm going to jump back over to Mentimeter because I'd like to know if you find value in receiving a revenue cycle score and getting that breakdown of points compared to past MAP award winners. So I have yes, great value. Oh, excellent, some value. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I think the fact that, you know, definitely the benefit with MAP app, that MAP app subscribers have compared to those who don't use MAP app and who are applying for an award is that you really do get good insight to your performance because you're already reporting those MAP keys according to our definitions. And so we really want to help you work towards that goal if that's something that you'd like to do. Okay, good. Does anybody, I'm very happy to see the 71% great value. Would anybody like to offer feedback in terms of the sum value? Is there anything that we could do to improve this piece of our dashboard? And Tracy and Eric, I'm just going to rely on you if that's okay to let me know if somebody's raised their hand or has a comment.
Absolutely.
Andrea, there is a comment in the chat from Denise. It says if there was an ability to tie the date range displayed in the bottom portion for the graphs to the top portion for the rankings, that would be wonderful.
Oh, you mean, Denise, do you mean for the, here, wait, let me go back. So down on the bottom where you see all the MAP key performance to tie that to the revenue cycle score? I think that's what she means.
She said yes.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The original thought behind the insights and the score was to make these representative of your entire organization. So regardless, you know, let's pretend you have, you know, 3 or 4 hospitals in this tool. And various ambulatory entities that you're reporting. The concept was to be able to make the score representative of that entire organization, but and keep it separate from the viewpoint. But if you would like to make the revenue cycle score, I think what I'm hearing you say is depending on the tab you click on, your viewpoint, to make that score tied to that viewpoint. Is that right, Denise?
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate that feedback. That's excellent. Okay. Any more questions or chat, or may I move on, Erica and Tracy?
That looks like it's it.
Okay, great, thank you. So today, as I said, we are still leveraging the viewpoint bar. And although this is not clickable, and it's probably hard to see, there's a tiny little hide link here. So that if you ever want to hide all the details behind the viewpoint, you can, and just have your tabs. What I like about this new viewpoint is that in today's map app, you actually have to open up a completely separate, a new window pops up when you want to edit a viewpoint. And what I like about this is that the editing is right on the screen there for you, and you can see your graphs dynamically change, not only based on the tab you click on, but as you change the drop downs, your graphs will also dynamically change as well. So it's much more kind of dynamic from that standpoint, that you're going to see the impacts of what you're changing and how that, and right there in the graphs. Many of you know that on our dashboard today, you see all 25 keys, and you can have favorites at the top. What we've done is we've made the favorites. The favorites will be on the bottom of the screen here. And if there are more favorites than, say, 4, we'll do a carousel type feature where rather than having you scroll up and down, you can scroll left to right to see your favorites on this page. This view all your map keys is going to be where, beyond your favorites, you can then see all of your keys. And because we wanted to, let me click on the viewpoint favorites. So when you click on view all my map keys, you will default to the viewpoint favorites, which match your dashboard, right? So here we have 4. But if I had 5 or 6 or 8, you'd see them here. And what I also like is we're using all of the same icons that we have today. So it's very understandable to all the users. But what I like is that today, when you have a favorite, that card disappears. And I'm calling the POS cash collections, each metric its own card. In today's map app, that card disappears from its category. In this map app, in what we're calling map app 2.0, the card never disappears. So even though I have POS cash collections as a favorite, I can still go under patient access, and I see POS is here. You can see that among all my patient access keys, that POS is the one that I favorited, but it resides here in its category with all of its other keys. And same thing with all the other keys, where I might have favorites or I might not have favorites. So DNFB is favorited, but FBNS and DNSP are not. The reason, something you might also recognize is that in map app today, we only have 4 categories. And here we are, as many of you, if any of you have the map key booklet, or if you look on our website today, we actually have 5 categories. So we are making sure that we're updating map app to our existing categories, and the keys will be found under their respective sections. The viewpoint will work the exact same way, with the plus being able to create a new viewpoint. You'll still be able to share viewpoints or lock viewpoints. All of that is being kept the same. We're keeping all of our reports, data submission, that all of the feature functionality we have in map app today is being kept. We're just trying to make it a little cleaner, and give us the chance that if we end up, if HFMA wants to add potentially one more key to patient access, that we have the flexibility to add keys as we go. And so this tool is really designed to be very flexible as map app grows in time as well. So let me go ahead and get to really a significant piece. And Denise, this is the piece I want to show you because you asked about the ambulatory. So in this lower left-hand corner, this is brand new. We have an org group builder and we have a peer group builder. And they're going to look the same from a screen layout standpoint. But what I want you to know is that when you're benchmarking, you are the org group. So in your viewpoint, if you want to benchmark anything more than one hospital, you're going to come to the org group builder. And what you're going to do is click on this create a new org group. And now what you're going to see is all of the provider types that we are going to be building into MapApp. So Denise, here's the answer to your question. Physician practice, other ambulatory, surgical centers, lab, imaging center, home health, hospice, SNF, I was thinking of something else, SNF, urgent care centers, standalone ER, ambulance med flight, retail pharmacy, specialty pharmacy, infusion centers, dialysis centers, dental centers, and telehealth. We think we've got everything, but certainly if any of you think that we've missed something that is significant, I would love to know that. Just, you can pop me an email later today and let me know if you think that HM has missed something. Certainly if you have like a sleep center or something, we would probably put that under other ambulatory, just because we're not sure how many entities will get under other ambulatory, specifically for sleep centers. Under the hospital side, we do have these acute care hospitals being benchmarked today, but what we want to add and allow you the ability to now benchmark is cancer hospitals, heart, ortho, IP rehab, IP psych, and LTAC hospitals. And what I want you to know is that the only things that would show here would be based on the build that we do for you in onboarding. So it's not like you're going to see all of this. Let's pretend that you're an organization that had one teaching hospital, one cancer hospital, and maybe 3 urgent care centers. Those would be the categories that you see on this right-hand side. And I think that's an important question too. I didn't actually create a survey question for this, but something, maybe if you can, if you have an opinion on this, please do email me afterwards and just let me know if you think that, would you be happy with only seeing your entities, or would you be curious about the benchmarking for entities you don't have? Potentially in the future, if you were going to add a cancer hospital or you were going to add a lab to your system, would that be worthwhile to you? So I want to keep going because I only have about 10 minutes left. And I want to get through the org group and the peer builder. But the concept is, as I was saying, we would be featuring the hospitals that you have in your contract, in your build, in this tool. And you could go and when you come to the org group builder, you're picking more than one entity to group. So if you wanted to look at just your gen med surges together, or just your teaching, or let's say you had multiple heart hospitals and you wanted to aggregate your heart hospital performance, you could do that. If you wanted to look at your critical access hospitals, you could do that. Let's say that I am a health system participant in this tool, and I just want to look at my total hospital billing system performance, right? So all acute, all specialty together. If I wanted to look at just all acute, I could. Just look at all specialty, I could do that too. But this is really meant to give you a lot of different options for how you look at your organization. So you would click on the items that you want to group, and you would see those items show here in the Your Selection. You would click Save Group, and in this case, our demo system is called Divinity Healthcare. But in this case, I'm going to name my organization Divinity Hospitals. And when I click Save Group, Divinity Hospitals becomes an entity that I have saved. This represents kind of my library of organization groups that I've saved. So you can see that I, as a previous user, I have a critical access group I've saved. I've created an org for my entire health system, that's hospital in addition to ambulatory, or I've just created, for my organization's nomenclature, Divinity Medical Group, right? You can name your orgs, anything that you can name your org groups, anything you want. We're not telling you how to name them. Because I know in many cases, especially on the ambulatory side, some organizations use the word physicians, some use medical practices, some use medical group. So it would just be user defined that you can create that. And you can always come back and see how these groups are defined. You can delete the group, you can edit the group, but that's really what's kind of you've got, when you're creating a viewpoint, you need your organization and you need your peer, right? So when you come to this piece of the organization, anything that you build in the org group builder will show in the drop-down list for organization, right? And then you can go and create. So here you can see I've got tabs that correspond to my org groups: critical access, my medical group, my health system, my total health system. So we've now created the org group, and let me just show you peer group. And we'll go to the survey questions at the very end here. But the peer group builder is meant to work the same way. I would come to this button, create a new peer group. And again, you would see all of the options, assuming you're a health system supplier of data, you would get to see both the hospital and the ambulatory options. It's okay if you're just a hospital participant or you're just an ambulatory participant, that's okay. You would still see your respective hospital kind of tree or your or the ambulatory options here for building a peer group. But what we can do here is we can build. So for example, if I wanted to, I built Divinity Hospitals as an org. What I could do is I could say, now I want to go and compare to all acute and specialty hospitals in the peer database, right? And our demographics, it's not just that you can pick the hospitals, but now you can pick the demographics that apply to the hospital system that you want to compare to. So I might say, yes, I want something, I want other peers that are in system. I want 2 to 5 systems with 2 to 5, between 2 and 10 hospitals in an urban area, and with a not-for-profit, faith-based, and not-for-profit other selection. And as you see, you can either click on each filter to remove it, or you can delete the filter from over here in the selection screen. But like these other peer groups that I've saved, you could save this peer group, and this I would just say, I would name hospital system peers, and then save it. And again, when you go to when you are using the viewpoint bar, again, your comparison, anything that you save in your peer group builder will be in the drop-down menu for your comparison. And then obviously, after you've defined your org, the part of your org that you want to benchmark and who you want to compare to, then you can go and pick what kind of graphs you want to see for what period. We're keeping everything the same in terms of you know, the time units. We're looking at adding year to date and rolling 12 as 2 additional options for your viewpoints. So let me jump back over to Mentimeter, and we have about 3 minutes left. And I just have a couple quick questions. How do you feel about the map keys being separated by their categories? Not, you know, all on one single page where you see the 25 map keys. Is that okay? Okay, good. Oh, good. That's what we were hoping. Yeah, I think it makes the data easier to digest. Good, okay, this is great. Yeah, I think seeing all 25 keys on one page was a bit overwhelming for a lot of users. As I trained people, you know, it was just a lot to look at, seeing 25 graphs. So at least this way, seems to be cleaner navigation. Yeah, less time to get a comprehensive view. Excellent. All right, let me move to the next question. Is the Organization Builder easy to understand? This is, again, Organization Builder allows you to aggregate your organization beyond just one entity, right? That base entity. Now you can roll up and see, oh, good, good. This is great feedback. We worked with a wonderful designer, a UX UI designer, to come up with that layout. So I'm really glad that you guys liked it. All right, how about any questions? What questions do you have about the peer builder? And I won't answer them now, but I'll definitely try to find a way to communicate the answers to these questions after today. Oh, good. Looks user-friendly. Was there, oh, for EMR type. That, actually, I'm glad you asked that. That, we are building the EMR type in as a demographic filter. So I know I didn't scroll through all the demographics, but yes, that has been one that people have asked for a long time. So you're going to have that option to now just to compare to Cerners or just to Meditechs or Epics or obviously we're gonna ask you that in the demographics. So we'll need to get that input. Can the peer grouping be shared with others in my? Yes, you can. And you can do that today. You can share in an editable way and a non-edit in a locked way. And so we're keeping that functionality. Can we identify systems who also? Yes, actually, thank you for that question. Yes, that's also going to be a new demographic is, do you have your own health plan? So we're going to be accepting IDN data, and IDNs may or may not have their own health plan, and we are going to make that a demographic such that if you want to filter out those who don't have a health plan, you can do that. Do we still see how many are in the, yes, you do. Yep, yeah, you get to still see how many peers are in that group to make sure that you have a good sample size. So, excellent. These are great questions and good prompts for me because I realized what I forgot to tell you. Okay, so that's going to close out our main presentation. I really appreciate all the great feedback. This feedback does not end here today, though. I would love it if the next time we talk, or if you have time, you can reach out to me. Please feel free to give me your input. As I said, this is your tool. We want to make sure that it's everything that you want it to be. And we pass everything that we hear along to our internal team as well as the developer. So we're going to take a short break right now. And in about 15 minutes, we're going to go into our breakout rooms. Those breakout room links should be in your confirmation email. Again, we have Lucy Zielinski talking about operating a profitable telehealth business as well. And in addition, we have Leah Klinke talking about how our organization uses MapApp to communicate performance. So I will see you at 3:30 for the closing session, and I hope you enjoy the breakout rooms.